YouTube, or that I shan't swear within the first 8 minutes to avoid demotivation or demoting. I'll do my best. Well, I'm going to do my best when I don't have the thing that I want to share up on the screen. This is what I want to share right now. Okay, my bad. And you'll understand why I'm trying not to swear.
We need to have a government that remains solid. Team Canada that can say to Donald Trump, go pound sand or go suck eggs. Although, as I said, I now realize there's a tariff on sand and they may not be able to afford eggs. Reminds me of his attitude towards women. He's a serial misogynist, sexual abuser, rapist.
Oh, God,
in the White House.
Stop it, woman.
What does he want to do? Take Greenland out to buy expensive furniture? Take Greenland into the dressing room? I'm sorry, every time I hear Trump saying he's going to get something one way or another of another sovereign nation, in my head I'm hearing, I just grab him by the... I wouldn't put it past Trump at all. I mean, we've seen Musk interfere in the German elections to support neo-Nazis. Okay. What's to say that Trump and Musk's ideas, well, let's just get some rage farming going and see if we can get a segment of Canadian society that likes the idea of a 51st state. We need to have a government that remains solid. Team Canada that can say to Donald Trump, go pound sand or go suck eggs.
Oh, we started again from the beginning.
Although, as I said, I now realize there's a tariff on sand and they may not be able to afford eggs.
It is such performative rubbish from a woman who is seemingly slurring her words at 3 p.m. Now, I've been told, what's her name again, chat? I mean, you guys know her name. See here, what's her name again? After drinking all the liquor taken off the shelves, Green Party leader Elizabeth May goes on an early morning tirade. Quote, say, tell Trump to go suck an egg. He's a serial misogynist. Sue her ass, Trump. Sue her into oblivion. So I've been told that Green Party leader Elizabeth May is in fact an alcoholic. She may have had a stroke, so I shouldn't make fun of the way she slurs her speech. She might have a medical condition that is in addition to apparently her drinking problem. She's an absolute idiot. But let's just, in case the world didn't hear the defamatory lies for which she deserves to get sued, let's just play them one more time.
Reminds me of his attitude towards women.
Reminds me of his attitude towards women. Huh? It reminds me of that time I totally just repeated defamatory propaganda. Go for it, Elizabeth. Do it. Here.
Real misogynist, sexual abuser, rapist. He's in the White House. What does he want to do? Take Greenland out to buy expensive furniture?
Is that an IKEA joke? I don't even understand that. Oh, no, that's what he said. Women in Hollywood are like, okay.
And into the dressing room? I'm sorry, every time I hear Trump saying he's going to get something one way or another of another sovereign nation, in my head I'm hearing, I just grab him by the...
In her head, in her dreams. She goes to bed at night saying, Trump, please come and grab me.
I wouldn't put it past Trump at all. I mean, we've seen Musk interfere in the German elections to support neo-Nazis. Okay. What's to say that Trump and Musk's ideas, well, let's just get some rage farming going and see if we can get a segment of Canadian society that likes the idea of a 51st state.
Can you appreciate, after that unhinged, borderline drunk, or maybe still drunk in the morning tirade, she accuses Trump and Musk of rage farming or rage baiting? These are Canadian politicians, everybody. This is what's going on in Canada. It's so bad. It's actually so bad. Like, you can't appreciate how bad it is. I can appreciate how bad it is because I have the luxury, the good fortune of witnessing it from down in the free state of Florida. You know, there was a science experiment where, I'm going to destroy this dog. Hold on a second. There was a science experiment. She whines to get in, and then within 3 seconds of getting in, whines to get out. A science experiment where they had 14 people in, or say 13, let's just say everybody except one person was in on the experiment. And it was to identify something objectively, visually ascertainable, which line is longer between two lines. I heard it on the Rogan show. I didn't actually get to see the visual representation of it. And everybody except one person was in on the science experiment, which was one of, social manipulation. And they were all going to say that the one that was clearly shorter than the longer line was the longer line. So, shorter line, longer line. Which one is longer? 13 of the 14 people who were in on the experiment said as their answer, the shorter line is the longer line. The one person who was not in on the experiment had to defy, or at least more often than not, defied their own observations, their own good sense, their own good logic to satisfy or succumb to group mentality, or to not be the one person standing against the crowd saying, no, I don't care how many there are of you, you're wrong, and this doesn't make sense. I get to watch this from Florida, where people are not, people in Canada are probably going to say they are brainwashed in Florida. Anybody who says that is an idiot and doesn't really understand how politically and ideologically diverse Florida is. There's a lot of bluish people out here. I'm watching what's going on in Canada, and I see even good, logical, smart Canadians who are simply unable to express themselves to oppose what the hell is going on in Canada because A, they'll get berated, degraded, whatever by their brethren, or the social pressure just causes them to say, yeah, I guess it really is wrong what's going on here. I guess Trump really is the bad man. I mean, look, Prime Minister Trudeau. Oh, no, it's not him. Is it Prime Minister Carney? The Green Party leader Elizabeth May, Doug Ford. They all say he's bad. He must be bad. I see what's going on. It's not normal. And everyone wants to talk about what's not normal going on in the States. You have politicians up in Canada who have lost their ever-loving minds. You don't know how bad it's gotten in Canada if you're in Canada, because I suspect you don't have free access to the information that we have in America, or that you don't listen to the Rebel News, the true north of Canada. Wait until we get into how bad it is in Canada. It's not just a raging alcoholic slurring her speech and going on a rage rant in the morning. Elizabeth May. Oh, did I have the funniest tweet for her? Encryptus, in the back, if you can find that tweet, I believe I referred to her as retarded. How many minutes are we in here? 2 more minutes before I can start letting loose, people. Oh, there was a tweet where actually I said I felt bad. I did refer you to that as I referred to you nicely in the first one. Maybe you are just a raging alcoholic. I love the meme that's going around now, by the way, that every circus needs a good carny. That is what's going on in Canada. The Canada. Oh my goodness! When you lose your sense of humor, you lose your ability to be insightful. You lose your ability to actually accurately observe, and you certainly, when you think of yourself as holier than thou, lose your ability to be funny. And then you end up doing really stupid things like adopting catchphrases such as elbows up. Elbows up, by the way, if you haven't heard this, is the new catchphrase of liberal resistance to Donald Trump. Liberal resistance. The origins of it, from what I understand, it's a Gordie Howe hockey expression. And I don't even think it means elbows up as in fighting. That's what I initially thought it meant. When your catchphrase is so obscure that even a natural-born Canadian, although I didn't play hockey and I never really skated, doesn't know what it means, you might want to pick a new one. Elbows up, I thought it meant, we're going to fight, so, duke them up and elbows up. From what I understand, it just means skating so hard. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but it means skating so hard that you get your elbows up to skate fast to the other side to get the puck, or Gordie Howe. And then you got your defectors, your Mike Myerses, who have fled the tyranny of Canada, who have fled the taxation of Canada, much like Mark Carney took his Brookfield Assets Managements out of the oppressive tax regime of Canada to bring it to a lesser oppressive tax regime of the United States, New York. You got a guy who left the country because he saw opportunity elsewhere. He saw a better life elsewhere, and he lived that better life elsewhere. He lives that better life now in New York. He's going elbows up, people. You know what elbows up is? That's what elbows up is, you liberal idiots. That's Jonah Hill from Superbad, a movie which, in retrospect, is not funny anymore. The elbows up, govern me harder, daddy. That's what elbows up is, represents, and you're living up to it, Canadians. I'm going hard, by the way. Hard. I'm going to go hard, hurry hard, and I'm going to actually have some productive advice for Pierre Poilievre, if he's listening. We're 9 minutes in. That bitch she is fucking crazy. Okay, Elizabeth May, you are fucking crazy. I don't know what's happened to you. You think you're funny? Holy shit. Elizabeth May, congratulations on humiliating all Canadians, and the Green Party especially. Oh, yes, by the way, before we get started on today's show, we have to thank today's sponsor. You want to start a good morning, start sharp, start knowing what's going on. Your first cup is on us. $17.75. No, really, $17.75, risk-free. It's the best coffee you've ever had, people. $17.75 coffee, a Rumble partner. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, right here. Well, I got the Vitality Mushroom Blend, which is almost empty. I might need to get a new. Oh, the dog's back in here. The kid's pushing the dog back. Watch this. Let's see how long the dog lasts in here. People, I drink a lot of coffee. Some might say I drink too much coffee and have too much caffeinated beverages in the afternoon. But that's too bad. I need the energy. I like the energy and I like the focus. Most coffee is trash. 1775's coffee is flipping delicious. No weak brews, no burnt taste, just bold, small batch, single origin coffee that actually delivers. It's got an 85 plus cupping score, meaning it's not just good, it's specialty grade. And trust me, you'll know the difference. I can't even drink coffee in hotel rooms anymore unless I bring my own bag. Dark roast when you need to wake up. Medium roast, easy to go all day, and Vitality Mushroom Blend. Oh yeah, that smells so good. Packed with lion's mane, reishi. It's proven to help with cognitive function. Hand-picked, roasted from fresh, beautiful beans. Go to 1775coffee.com. Use promo code VIVA to get 15% off. Start your morning with coffee that stands for something. And by the way, every dollar you spend on it will enter you in the raffle to win that beautiful Tesla Cybertruck plus $30,000 cash. I think they're going to start putting out some highlights and videos that I took in that car sometime sooner than later. Bada bing, bada boom. Link is in the description. Look, people will criticize me for being only negative. Viva, what's your solution? I've been dumping on Pierre Poilievre, rightly so, and I won't say viciously so. I'm not dumping on Pierre Poilievre as viciously as Mark Carney is fighting for net zero. By the way, the net zero that they want after they're done with destroying the economy and natural energy, you're the carbon they want to eliminate. There's to me now, there's no question. I do not go against Pierre, hard on Pierre, as viciously as Carney goes against, against Canadian equitable energy for the purposes of net zero so that he can invest in foreign countries. But I go hard on Pierre. And some of you might say, Viva, you're going hard on Pierre because you hate him, because you want the Conservatives to lose because you're a PPC guy. Some of you out there might think Viva is an actual conservative mole. He's criticizing Pierre from the outside so that Pierre should actually adopt some of the constructive criticism, better himself, and thus increase his chances of success. You don't only criticize people because you hate them, people. And like a parent who doesn't call it criticize, who doesn't seek that their child should act better, doesn't love that child. So whether you think I'm doing it for love or for hate, I don't give a sweet bugger all. I'm doing it. And if Pierre had half a brain, he would probably stop to think about it, because I do not speak for myself. I don't speak for Canadians, but I think I speak logically. So someone says, Stephen Britton. Oh, it's Stephen Britton. I didn't even know I was responding to you when I responded to that. Okay. That's really funny. I didn't even, well, Steve, now you'll understand why I said the vivabarneslaw.locals.com thing. Stephen Britton, a member of our locals community. I like him. We like each other. We interact on the interwebs. Says, okay, Viva. Well, let me just go through the, oh yeah, this is where we're at. Look at this. I got to go through the entire Twitter thing here. Pierre Poilievre, in today's news, tweets out March 11th. Yeah, it's today. 11:53. Okay, that was relatively recently. Pierre Poilievre, common sense conservatives strongly condemn President Trump's latest unjust tariffs targeting Canadian steel and aluminum workers and manufacturers. These tariffs cannot in any way be justified, yes they can, and are yet another betrayal by the president of the long friendship between Canada and the US. I am calling on the government to immediately bring in retaliatory tariffs. First of all, Pierre, you idiot. I'm sorry, I say this as I lovingly. Government's not in session right now. So you're calling on government that is pro-rogue to do something that they're not in session to do, as far as I understand. Maybe they can do this nonetheless. You're not in power. You don't have to contribute to policy. Even if you think it's the right thing to do, let the Liberals do it and bear the brunt of the consequences on the Canadian economy. You don't have to do this, but okay, I'll stop interrupting myself. If President Trump is applying 50% tariffs on our steel and aluminum, then Canada must hit back with a 50% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imported from the United States. Who do you think that's going to hurt more, Pierre? The country that is 10 times the economy and much more diverse than Canada? Our message to the U.S. administration must be clear. Do not mistake our kindness for weakness. We are strong, proud, and a sovereign country, and we will fight back against these attacks against our economy and our workers. And if the president applies further tariffs, as he has threatened, we will hit back on those as well. We will not falter in defense of our country, and these attacks will only harden our... Who wrote this? This sounds like AI wrote this, Pierre. I'm also calling on the Liberal government to further defend our steel and aluminum workers. Listen to the leader. Now, by the way, after three paragraphs of shitting on Trump and America, now he decides to refocus his attention to the Liberals. Calling on the Liberals to further defend our steel workers, listen to the industry, yada, yada, yada. And take additional action to combat illegal dumping and unfair trade practices by China. Finally, I'm calling on Mark Carney to reverse his plan to impose a massive new industrial carbon tax on Canadian steel and other heavy industry. His carbon tax would decimate our industry forever. Only Canada First conservatives will axe the taxes, greenlight pipelines made with Canadian steel, and bring home production and paychecks. Made with Canadian steel. Oh, that's interesting. It's almost like what Trump is trying to do in the States. Carney-Trudeau Liberals have imposed taxes on and blocked projects, making us more reliant on the Americans. So you're trying to break that reliance? This is illogically incompatible. While Carney profited by shipping jobs out of Canada to the U.S., he sold out Canada already and will do it again. We need conservative government that will put Canada first. Okay. To which I said, it's your race to lose, Pierre. So far, you're doing everything in your power to lose it. By the time you realize this, it might be too late to reverse course. And then, what's your solution? No snark or sass? Here's my solution. I even drafted it for Pierre. Feel free to cut and paste Pierre. And his name is Pierre Poilievre, people. Poilievre. Either the weight of the rabbit or the fur of the rabbit. Poilievre. Where am I? Quote, I will negotiate with Trump when I am in power. Until then, Liberals trying to fight dollar for dollar trade war with an economy 10 times our size and substantially more diverse will only hurt Canadians. It's a known fact we have a drug problem in Canada, as well as an immigration problem that is causing legitimate concern for America's national security. Even if you feel Trump's tariffs are pretextual, you see how you do that right there? You're criticizing them, but you're suggesting other people are criticizing him. Even if you feel Trump's tariffs are pretextual, as many do. These are issues that we must first resolve as a nation to the satisfaction of our neighbor, ally, and biggest trading partner. Liberals seem unwilling to address these problems of their own creation. You see what it did there? You put the blame on the Liberals for not negotiating, and you also remind Canadians that these are their problems. They created these problems through rampant open borders, through rampant apparent decriminalization of drugs. Oh yeah. They seem unwilling to address these problems of their own creation. Instead, they seem intent on creating a crisis for them to manage because it is the only way they stay in power and distract Canadians from the decade-long disaster that has been their government. I may not agree entirely with Trump's actions, but I understand them and will work in good faith to resolve these issues once Canada has held a national election to determine who should lead this country going forward. You see that, by the way? Pivot into the next layer of stress, pressure. Force Carney to either declare an election himself or that scumbag traitor Jagmeet Singh to force an election via a motion for non-confidence. I'll work with them after we hold an election. The Liberals should and must call an election immediately before the damage they cause to Canada and our relationship with the United States is before the damage they cause is irreparable. That'll be $5,000. That's my solution. Every day that goes by, every doubling down on these liberal light or liberal 2.0 policies, all that the conservatives are telling Canadians is, if you were thinking of voting conservative, there's no point anymore. No bother. Stick with the devil you know. And the devil you know, by the way, is the one that you don't really know that you know because most people don't know Mark Carney. So they don't associate Justin Trudeau's ugly, blackface, woman-groping, 2 times ethic-breaching face with Mark Carney, even though Mark Carney was the one advising him policy-wise for the last 5 years. So it's not even the devil you know for the devil you don't. Right now, they can pretend that Mark Carney is a new face to the liberal machine when he isn't, because they don't know that he's not. And instead of you, Pierre, highlighting that Carney was Trudeau's puppeteer. And if you thought Trudeau was bad, then you understand that his puppeteer is exponentially, concentratedly worse. Who said time to get some more coffee? Neurodivert. Yes. Well, all that I'm going to do is just do this. Oh yeah, the smell of coffee is a beautiful thing. So those are my thoughts on that. And by the way, we're going to get into how bad it is in Canada, because I don't think people know. Canada isn't just burning. There is graphite on the roof. I think you might mean graphene, thermite. Chet Chisholm in the house, man who feeds me a lot of useful information coming out of Canada. Thermite on the roof. How bad is Canada? Nobody knows who Carney is. Canadians do not know who Carney. If I didn't really know fully who Carney was 2 months ago, Canadians don't. And it's not because I'm smarter. It's just because I live on the internet. And if I don't know something that lives on the internet, I guarantee you that people who are working standard jobs 8 hours a day don't know who Mark Carney is. Globalist, WEF Coor. You know what I did? I put out a 20-minute essay yesterday of a vlog. I was particularly proud of that vlog. I think it's one of the best vlogs, VLAWG, I did out of my car, that I've ever done. Thorough. It actually followed a mildly coherent timeline, thought process, breaking down what's going on in Canada. I didn't know, doing that vlog, that Mark Carney is Carney-Freeland's son's godfather. Do I have this in there? Like, someone said that in the comments to the video. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And it's 12:30 at night. I don't need to get angry before I go to bed. Someone tweeted this, or I forget, replied, whatever. Hey, did you know that Mark Carney is the godfather of the son of the woman who was just running against him?
I actually have known Mark for a very long time.
Mark Carney.
Both of us are from Northern Alberta.
Mark Carney. Now, I started getting a little... Did I just get duped by something? Is she talking about a different Mark? I thought Mark was from the Northwest Territories. She's talking about Mark Carney. I'm going to start. I'm going to shut my mouth. Apologies.
I actually have known Mark for a very long time. Both of us are from Northern Alberta. And I think Mark is a great Canadian. I am really glad that he has come out as a Liberal. And I'm grateful for any support he can offer our party, our government, and our country. I speak with Mark often.
About that?
I speak with him often. He's actually my son's godfather.
Oh.
I actually have known Mark for a very long time.
He's actually
both of us
my
are from
son's
Northern Alberta.
godfather.
And I think Mark is a great Canadian.
He's a great Canadian who spent the better part of the last decade serving the interests of Europe, England, the globalists. Oh, he's actually my son's godfather. The funny thing is, you'll excuse the swears, but we're past the 9-minute mark. Back during the debates, when I'm watching these debates, and I'm watching Karina Gould, Frank Baylis, a man who's more boring than Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and Carney-Freeland debate Mark Carney. It's like, these idiots. The only reason Karina Gould, C.A. Freeland, Frank Baylis are in this Liberal leadership race is to make that piece of shit globalist whore, 3-passport carrying motherfucker Mark Carney look good by comparison. Canada is so screwed. I didn't even know that Carney was her son's godfather at that time. It all makes sense now. They were all in on it. It's a big club, and you ain't in on it. Do I see my brother in the backdrop? Dan, do you want to come in? My brother's coming in. I wasn't sure if I should announce him. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing? Long time no see.
Getting bushy here. due for a trimming.
Who, me or you?
Well, both of us, but I was talking about myself.
Dan, for those of you who don't know, this is my actual brother. He looks like he comes from another mother, but tall, slender, a lot more salt. He's got a lot more salt than pepper these days. He's up in the iron gulag, and he's a lawyer. Dan, tell everybody who you are if they don't know who you are.
SOS. Find me on. I'm a lawyer up here in Canada, Ontario. You can find me on. I do a lot of personal advocacy on X, Lion Advocacy. So if you want to see my personal opinions on politics, legal issues, and the like, find me on the Twitters,
dude.
X.
What the hell's going on in your country, in our respective countries?
It's a bit troubling. I don't think people are fully informed as to who or what Mark Carney stands for. So I'm a bit concerned by this. And so I'm trying to get the word out, as are a few other people with information.
Is this a Jew joke? Whoever made this. Jones. Dan, look at me.
What was the joke? Same noses.
Same noses. Okay, sorry. That's offensive. I'm joking. I don't think that's what you meant. Hold on. Get it in close. Get it in close. No, his bridge is much more square than mine. No, dude. So let me ask you this. You're reasonably informed and educated. Prior to Carney entering the race, were you familiar with him?
No, not at all. I know he had a big reputation. I'm late to the politics game, but I know he has a pretty good reputation, or had, or maybe it's disputed, as a governor of the Bank of England or whatever it was. So I know he's got a good track record, but it's the human rights component that is troubling to me, and how far he's prepared to go for this green climate emergency.
Okay, well, you say a good. I presume you mean resume on paper because he's a. If everybody said, like Trump had no political experience, we have to abide by the same logic. Everyone said Trump had no political experience, but he had business experience, so that'll make him good for the job. Carney, we say has no elected MP experience, but he's been in business for a while, so he's got that under his belt. Have you've looked into what he did? So it was governor of the Bank of England. For that's why he moved to England, got citizenship there, and is very much on board with this climate crisis. How familiar are you with his level of backdoor advising to Justin Trudeau?
I don't. I just know that he professes to have been an advisor for a lot of government officials. So he's got the track record, he got the experience.
What the hell is going on Dan? You're there. Is it the case that they're actually taking off American liquors and bourbons from the shelves at the
to the point? Yes, to the point where we needed some for Passover. So I was worried they were going to take out the Manischewitz, because that's American. So yes, they're literally physically taking it off the shelves, and there's a whole a cult promotion now of anti-American stuff, and the booing of the national anthem was promoted by what's his face?
Trudeau,
the former PM.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's no longer the PM, dude. Where was the picture of him leaving the office? Hold on, where is it? It's
on my Twitter feed. I put that in there. That was, to me, was pretty symbolic. Oh, look, it's going viral too. 1.3.
Yeah, well, this is so lectern guy. You know who the lectern guy is? He's the one who moved the lectern during the January 6th, and he says, "I was told this was a felony." I had to make sure that I DM'd him. I was like, Adam, that's a real picture, right? This was before I verified it on Reuters. It's real, by the way. So he's leaving the Parliament, taking his chair, and I think this was like through a window where there were journalists taking pictures. This is not. Was it a security camera, or do you know offhand?
I don't know. That's a good question. But it was on Reuters, like they put it up there.
Oh yeah. And I said, I said this. I'm not just trying to bring it back the blackface. I don't care about the blackface thing. I never thought that was an act of racism in the first place. The fact that he's got some dude on the left here, if you can see that, trying to lick his tongue, I've got more questions as to what was going on there than just why he's dressed like Aladdin. But what this is, in my view, it's like the duper's delight. This is the mother effer realizing he got away with everything and giving you the one last tongue out before he leaves office.
I think the problem with it is, like, look, a little playfulness in office is good. It's okay, right? I think a lot of people know that his policies did cause a lot of harm. Like, it's well documented at this point. It's not dispute. Like, a lot of people are suffering because of him. I mean, the food bank lines, can't be 100%, attributed to his policies, but a lot of stuff with the COVID, and so and he knows, we all know that Canada's now in a, there's a lot of internal conflict among all parties. So for him to stick out the tongue like that, I know it's not like that big of a deal, and we shouldn't keep giving this guy more attention, but to me, it's so symbolic.
Has Carney been sworn in officially?
Good question.
Mark Carney,
is there a swearing in ceremony?
Sworn in. Let me see.
Does the swearing in even mean anything anymore? So I don't
know. It's so insane when you look at the media coverage. I'm just gonna show you the headlines. It's mind-boggling. Canada's next PM Carney vows to win trade war with Trump. Okay, good for you. Why Canada is giving Mark Carney a shot? Then you're there. You saw what happened. Are people on the ground okay with this? Are they supporting it? You're in a liberal area, not a state, but a liberal province, and forget the jurisdiction, but an even more liberal jurisdiction, from what I understand.
Well, so he has to, right? He has to win now, or the convention says he can't. He should call an election and win in a riding, right? And so there was a Liberal MP who did announce her resignation in a riding. That's a pretty secure spot for him. So the theory is that he's going to now either, I don't know if it's a by-election or a general election, run in that riding where where that MP is going to resign, and so he could presumably take that seat. Yeah.
Okay. And people on the street, are they all gung ho with this in Canada?
Are they gung ho? It's I call it the conspiracy of silence. I think it's not the first time. People say it's focusing on the fact that he's unelected and he's holding the PM role. That's been done before. Like, it's been the first time that somebody's been kind of slid in. There has been generally more, I think, holding of public office roles, but that's a technicality. I think this concept of someone sliding in based on the winning the liberal leadership, it's not the first time. So I'm not like, the concern is, will he not call an election for an indefinite period of time, or use the climate emergency to delay elections? That would not surprise me.
Well, now that you mention it, when I say that it's worse than you can possibly imagine, let me pull this one up. This one right here. You all think I'm not saying you all. Everybody watching here understands. I'm not slow to get on the bandwagon. I'm just skeptical and don't want to panic. Everybody's like, they're not going to hold elections anymore. This is an actual clip of him during his during the robust nationwide liberal leadership race. This is what he actually.
The third thing we have to do, and this goes directly against the pressure we will get from the United States, whatever they do, is build.
Okay, nice.
Build, baby, build. They're going to drill, we're going to build. Some of what we build.
Just pausing it here. This is after 10 years of liberals exacerbating the housing crisis. It's like they're idiots. They are a bunch of smooth brain idiots. Sorry.
Some of what we build is going to help with our drilling, to be clear. Some of it's going to be energy infrastructure. Some of it's going to be clean energy. Some of it's going to be trade corridor. A lot of it is going to be housing, the 3 or 4 million new homes that we need across this country.
3 or 4 million new homes. They've been saying this. Trudeau ran on building housing in 2015. But it's a new guy, so he'll do it. Yeah.
And something that my government is going to do is to use all of the powers of the federal government, including the emergency powers of the federal government, to accelerate the major projects that we need in order to build this economy.
Wow. Did you hear that?
Projects that we need in order to build this economy and take on the Americans.
Yeah.
What does using emergency? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, the use of emergency powers for building housing. Line that up with also the use of emergency legislation for the climate crisis, which I posted on my X feed yesterday. He made that threat or that statement about about promoting the climate emergency in the middle of some of the most intense lockdowns in April of 2021, COVID lockdowns. Meaning he sees, while everyone was suffering through COVID, he saw the climate emergency as comparable. And is he seeing housing now, as similar? I mean, all it really means, I don't know if you can't use the Emergencies Act. So he'd probably use orders in council.
He'd use the Emergencies Act. Let me see this here.
No, he would use orders in council and things to bypass proper legislative debate. And
that's the tweet?
So the companies and those who invest in them and lend to them, who are part of the solution, will be rewarded. But those who are lagging behind and are still part of the problem will be punished.
That wasn't necessarily the one. Is this the one here?
No, if you keep going down, there's where you compare. Oh no, go back up. You screen. It was a.
Oh, is this like COVID? Climate change is a global problem. No country can solve it on their own. Unlike a pandemic, no country is an island which can lock itself down, which can lock down from the start, then wall itself off and wait for a vaccine, which worked ever so well.
So the problem here is that. That statement was made April 14th, 2021.
I mean, that's right. It started in earnest in March 2020.
No, but that was when in Ontario, Quebec, I recall that specifically. That was when they prevented interprovincial mobility. They were locking the Quebec border again.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. Quebec still had the curfews. That was, and I think Ford at that time tried to use the OPP to stop people in their tracks when they were out and about. So he was leveraging the most intense COVID emergency and using that to promote the climate emergency. That people got to see that is a major flag. That is a major flag.
I made the joke again in my vlog yesterday that they're going to learn the Zelensky method of not calling elections and declare an emergency. It doesn't have to be an invasion, although it might be an invasion from America. It doesn't. It'll be that, or it'll be annulling the elections like they did in Romania. This guy's been involved and vocal for years now. Like the amount, how many interviews did you watch of him going back to Davos and WEF? Because there's a bunch.
What you mean referring to them?
Yeah. No. Like I went a couple weeks ago and I spent an entire morning just zipping through at 1.5 or 2x all of his speeches. I mean, some of them are just vapid rubbish, just talking about carbon credits and the swap and whatever. But there are gems in there that show you that this guy's been a tyrant and been involved intimately in Canadian tyranny for the last 5 years, and now he's just anointed.
Well, right, and the measures that he's threatening or has made clear that are things he's considering to use. And as a banker, I think where he sees this going. So I was like impressed that he's scrapping the carbon tax. Like, okay, that's gonna make some. That's now that's good, but based on he's not going back on the climate emergency. So what he's going to do most likely, which if I were in his head, he's seeing the banks as the way to redirect consumers to alter their environmental purchases and all this stuff. So, and including, like he said in that video, they're punishing companies or, I would guess even banks that aren't in line with his agenda. So what's in the pipes is pretty concerning. People have to be aware of it.
They're good. I mean, everyone was afraid that if Carney-Freeland was elected, she'd freeze bank accounts again. This guy is more intimately involved in the capacity to do that than Carney herself.
He was unrepentant about that. I don't think he was very much in favor of using the bank freezes to prevent those protests. So yeah, he was on the record as being very much in favor of that. And again, unrepentant. So I would have expected, we're 5 years out now from the pandemic emergency, at least 3 years out from that declaration. I would have expected most folks to now turn back and say, hey, maybe that wasn't the right course of action.
They want to forget about it, move on, pretend that they never got duped out of their most precious assets.
Well, once there's a federal court of appeal decision that's going to come down on that. So if that gets reaffirmed as having been unlawful, the Emergencies Act and the freezing of bank accounts, that might spur some repentance.
Remind us where we're on that, because I think there was the lower level federal court that declared the invocation unlawful, in contrast to Rouleau's ratification of it, but that was a parliamentary inquiry, not a federal court case. Right. The Crown appealed that. We're waiting for the decision on that.
Right. Okay. Yes. You should get those litigants on your thing too.
Who is it? I'm
only familiar with Garces, the former OPP guy.
Oh, okay. But I'll for sure get him on. And now that you mentioned it, someone did send me an email, and I think they said
yes.
Okay. So there's that. What are you working on? Because I know you're getting in trouble at the town hall meetings, and still you're not yet prepared to forgive and forget about the vax stuff.
Well, I mean, just the reality is I'm still getting notifications from the Vaccine Injury Support Program on the delays, and that fact alone kind of irks me. Nobody seems to know or care that that's a material fact. That seems that has to get out there, meaning that they underestimated, under budgeted for all this stuff. Like you can't argue with it. So where does that leave us? What other stuff?
What have they? How much has they paid out for the VISP, Vaccine Injury Support Program?
It's on the website. You could check it out.
Encryptus is in our backdrop. If you can find that.
Compared to the U.S., it's actually it's actually comparable, I think, in terms of the number of claims received. The payout, there was a massive payout recently by the American version. So Canada has not been that generous. They're very strict in terms of their criteria, very opaque in terms of who's making the decisions. So it's slow, and I believe it's tactical. I believe it's being delayed on purpose to tire people out.
I want to see if I can find it. Dan Hartman, Sean Hartman's father, did he get a response on his vaccine injury application?
I don't know where the status of that is, but that would be one of the venues for that. And I think there's also a big lawsuit.
Well, that's I'm gonna let me bring that up, because he's got a give, send, go for his lawsuit, because he's suing Pfizer. Kayla Pollock, who's also living in her physical hell in Canada, she was one rendered a quadriplegic from the Moderna booster after 2 Pfizer shots. She's having trouble subsisting. This is the fundraiser for Dan Hartman's lawsuit against Pfizer. And let me get it's Operation OP Kayla is the website. Let me just make sure. Here we go. OP Kayla. I'll give everybody this. So if like, it looks like he's got a lot of money in there, but the reality is to take these suits forward, it's just endless costs, and the government has very deep pockets. Let me swap this over. So Dan Hartman is suing Pfizer, and Kayla, who is still a quadriplegic for life,
rendered disabled from the vaccine. Yeah. And I think that's been verified too. That's not even.
It's been verified. You get trolls on the internet who are inhumane sons of bitches. But she rendered a quadriplegic, offered medical assistance in dying by that wonderful free healthcare system up in Canada, and is suing Moderna for her damages. And so this is her link if you want to help link here.
So the reality is I don't know actually how to, who can do what at this point. The Alberta Health Services came up with a brilliant report. It was summarizing the response, information that was lacking. I thought it was very, I use the word unimpeachable. Like I couldn't find anything in there that was majorly offside, but it was weaponized. They went after the Alberta Health or AHA, I forget what.
AHS.
No, the Association of physicians there. They went after the report on a very collateral basis. They didn't actually substantively address most of it, but it's even when you do get certain commission reports in favor, or to do some self-reflection, you get the political pushback that's crazy, which I did not anticipate. It's like the ultimate double down. So, but you get some journalists now that are, there was one I put on my Twitter that recognized that the response was far from perfect. And of course that science is going to get things wrong. But if you're going to destroy people's careers.
Of course, science gets it wrong at the same time that they say science is unassailable and it's settled science. I mean, this is, they don't understand it. It's not a double standard. They understand what they're doing because nobody's that dumb at the age of adulthood. They know what they're doing. When they want to excuse their own mistakes, science makes mistakes. And when they want to impose their own tyranny, it's settled science and shut your filthy mouth and lock yourself down in your house for 5.5 months. And thank the government, and as though they're God, that they give you the light of day.
Look, I consider myself a good, effective negotiator for dispute resolution. Okay, in my practice, I'm trying to bring that on a bigger level, into the government level here at some of these agencies. It's a different animal. You're dealing with, I guess you're dealing with the public and saving face and all this stuff. But there has to be a certain kind of objective or neutral way to measure, to reconcile these errors. Again, I came in this from seeing people's careers, professional lives get destroyed for what? To say well, of course, we were far from perfect. We weren't perfect. Well, should you thought of that before you destroyed people's careers? Maybe for half a second more. So anyhow, that's where we're at.
Dude, you know what's funny? I love this. This is your profile. Everybody can go follow. Make injustice visible, Mahatma Gandhi. The liberals decided to invert it, and they want to make justice invisible. Come on, that's funny. Although I guess that's what Mahatma Gandhi was banking on. This is your Twitter feed. And by the way, there's a deep state, or there's a conspiracy theory that Mahatma Gandhi was a deep state operative intended to suppress effective violence protests. And so that they brought him in to actually quell what would have been otherwise effective confrontational protests. And it's like, everybody be peaceful and let yourselves get tyrannized. And then they whacked him.
Yeah. No comments. All right. Always good to see you. I'm glad we get to just check in every now and again.
I may or may not see you back in Canada, so you have to come back. You have to come down here, get some. I don't look much more tan than you, but I am. And so you get down here and come get some of that sunny, beautiful Florida. Is the movement to boycott Florida oranges and travel to Florida still strong in Ontario? Because I know several people personally who seem
heard things.
Oh God. Okay, I thought we know what that means. All right, dude. I'll play later.
Battle.
All right. Rock on. I'm kicking you out of here. Don't take it personally. Okay. That's my brother, people. That's my brother. So I think someone asked in the chat, I'm the youngest of 5. So there's 4 boys, 1 girl, boy, girl, boy. That's the second youngest along with me. We were the troublemakers. And I think it got exponentially worse the lower down you went on the childhood ladder. But that's what's going on in Canada. Did I forget any of the classic clips that I wanted to talk about in Canada? We're going to do some fun stuff over on the Rumble side. Oh, yeah. Well, I should have asked my brother about this as well. When I say that you have no idea how bad it's gotten in Canada, Trudeau, people don't understand this. I think we have 100 Senate seats. Ezra Levant mentioned it yesterday during our interview. Government's prorogued, and despite the fact that government is prorogued, Trudeau just appointed 5 more appointments of senatorial appointments to the Senate because they're not elected positions in Canada. The Senate is the, there's an expression. It's the breadth of analysis, check and balance of Parliament. Anybody in the chat, Stephen Britton, I know you'll know this. What is the definition of the Senate? It has like the second breath of the Parliament. Trudeau, while the government has been shut down, while they hold their sham of an anointment for Mark Carney, has been naming senators left, right, and center into the Senate. And so now he's got control over the Senate. I'm bringing this up. Matt, why not call out all political parties in Canada? Why not the Conservatives? They are just as corrupt, endless wars, mass migration. Dude, are you new to this? Okay, try not to take anything personally, because maybe this is not intended to suggest that I don't do exactly this, because I do it all the time. And I'll criticize PPC every now and again. Sometimes their tolerance of free speech and no litmus test of candidates reflects poorly when you have these idiots who I'm convinced take to Twitter to deliberately spout messages that will make the PPC look bad, and they are not bona fide PPC fans. They are, in fact, moles. I say this all the time. But seriously, if you say this about me, then you're new to the channel. Congratulations, welcome. Because I've been accused of giving the Conservatives too hard of a time. I've been accused of criticizing Trump when we shouldn't, such as over his continued support for Operation Warp Speed and the products thereof, and his recent attack on Thomas Massie, which we're going to get into over on Rumble. Encryptus says 16,500,000 amount paid to claimants. Okay, very interesting. Thank you. That's in Canada, I presume. Then I got that one already. I got this one here. Taboller says, my 7-year-old son read Louis the Lobster and loved it. He kept pointing to your picture, Viva, saying, look, Daddy, it's your friend you always watch. That is hilarious. I got to get the sequel going. I got to write the sequel. Strike while the iron is hot. Harry the Heron gets hooked. Trademarked, copyright. That's mine now. You can't steal it. And Chet Chisholm says it's a Chernobyl reference. It means reactor exploded. The government kept denying the graphite being present. Trying to cover things up. This killing more people due to its corruption. Yeah, that's hopefully where we're at in terms of a society now. Viva, why is Rumble making us watch 30 minutes of ads before your stream? Well, Trump won't skip the ad. I mean, they have everything has ads here. Over on CommieTube, the super chat from John McGarry. Carney runs in Randy's seat in the EDM after Randy resigns to spend more time with family, out money on it. That's interesting. Okay, I'm gonna look at that one afterwards. And then did I miss any other? Oh, here's another commie chat. Oh, hey, from John McGarry. Hey, Stephen, if you can't be supportive, just leave. I don't know what the discussion is in here, but I'm not getting into fights. We got Castle Vetro says Dapper Dan and the Australian of the USA, the Floridian Viva Fry. And that's it. Okay, so what we're going to do right now, here's the link. We're using Studio, so Locals is going to be supporter only if you want to come over to Locals. And we're going to move this over to the free speech platform. Vote with our feet, vote with our eyeballs. Talk Massie. Talk the InfoWars journalist who was just gunned down outside of his place. Thus far, we'll get into it. It's tough not to look at these things and connect dots that maybe don't connect, but when stars align contemporaneously, then it's tough not to draw connections. But we'll get to all of that. Trump has declared a national emergency with regards to the electricity coming from Canada. Shit. All right, let's take this party on over to Rumble. I gave you the link there. Have I missed anything? Go into our Locals community, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. I got that one. Put in some control rods to cool it off, says Joe Mazq. And shut down power plants or refineries or whatever, says SVA for real. Oh, and by the way, Svihansis, you know who I got heard back from? Gadi Taub. It looks like we're scheduling it. We are now formally in touch, and we will work through whatever time zones exist. And I'm going to have Gadi Taub on sooner than later to talk about what's going on in Israel, because it's a discussion worth having. All right, so what we're doing now, we're updating the stream. Get your butts on over to Rumble. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about over there. And then we'll have our vivabarneslaw.locals.com after party. And can I show you what's going on in here? Hold on, I'll show you this. Not that anybody cares, but my studio is also the guest room of our house. Hold on. And if you can see get the pictures out of there. Hold on a second. If you can see that the hide-a-bed has been deployed, which means that my mother-in-law is coming here. So I'll be streaming, staring at my mother-in-law in the hide-a-bed. I'm joking, but I'm going to lose my office for at least a certain period of the day, but not for streams and not for the Sunday night show. So get your butts on over to Rumble, and we're going to party on Hardy over on Rumble. Thomas Massie, a bunch of other stuff, InfoWars and more, updating Rumble Locals now. Peace out, CommieTube if you're not coming, and Twitter, see you as well.